Start the meeting. I think Councilmember Perales is connecting. Yasmin, do you want to call the roll?
Esparza, Foley,
Here.
Perales,
Here.
Cohen. Thank you.
Here.
Cohen,
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to item B, the review of the work plan. We have the green infrastructure program and project status report will be deferred. Staff is asking to defer that to May 3rd. I think we need a motion for that. Can I get a motion?
Move approval. To
Second.
move it.
Thank you. And then, Yasmin, are you doing all the roll?
Yes, I will be today.
Okay, thanks.
Foley,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye. Thank you. We have no items on the consent calendar, and so we can go to reports to committee. The first item is the Regional Wastewater Facility Capital Improvement Program Semi-Annual Status Report. Mariana, are you starting us off?
Yes, I am. So let me just share my screen for that. Hopefully we can see it. Okay, I have today with us also Norman Mascarenas from our Public Works Department. So I'll do the presentation, and at the end, both he and I will be available for questions. So this is a semi-annual report for us from July to December 2020. Just an overview, you are familiar with our program, 1.4 billion in 10 years from 2014 to 2024. We are the largest capital program in the city. Our budget for this fiscal year, 562 million, and we currently have 19 active projects from inception to construction, and that is totaling 980 million. This is just a snapshot of what we are doing. This is just a diagram of how we deliver projects. We have right now 2 different ways to deliver our design build projects, and then we have 3 progressive design build projects. We are in different stages. We're gonna probably focus more in some of the construction projects just to show some of the progress that we have had in the last year. So just to give you a little bit of a sense of how much construction we have going on. We have currently 10 projects, and this is just an aerial picture of the RWF. And this is just showing the extent of construction basically in all these different projects. So we have here the names, and the total base construction value of these is 398 million. Some of these projects are just at the beginning of construction, some more advanced, and we'll talk a little bit about some of them in the next slides. One that is a small project, but I just wanted to highlight, this is only $5 million. However, this is some of our big piping replacement projects. This is jar piping is the second of a number of projects that will be completed in the next few years. These projects are interesting just because they can only be done during the summer, during dry weather. And they are really large pipes that we are rehabbing. So here's just a couple of pictures to give you a sense. Grounds were corroded because of the nature of sewage. And we are just showing here, you can see one of the inspectors just walking inside the pipe just to show you the size. So this is a smaller project that we just completed. We have another phase going. We have much larger projects that we wanna show you. One of the ones that you probably were, some of you were in the ribbon cutting for, the Cogeneration facility project. So this is a project that was almost 95 million. We just completed beneficial use in December 2020. A couple of pictures just to show you a little bit of the, still the contractor finishing with the cogen engines and some of the process mechanical work. This project was completed during COVID, so we had a little bit of remote startup and some interesting things that happened with the project, but we want to show a video, quick video, just showing you the finished product. You can see the new cogeneration building on the left. And then you can see also all the different auxiliary kind of things for the gas cleaning and all that. The project was completed in almost 2 years of construction, and this project is actually part of our reliability and resilience projects because we are now closer to be self-sufficient in terms of energy. We are generating almost half of the energy that the facility needs with this project. Excuse me, let me just go to the next slide. The digester and thickener facility upgrade project. This is a project that we have been working on for a few years now in construction. 107 million construction value. That's just the base value. And we are hoping to have this done by the fall this year. Just a few pictures also just to show you some of the progress in the work. But I think it's more impressive just to see again the drone video. You can see here the 4 digesters that have been completed, full structural seismic rehab, all the gas lines going in what almost looked like a monorail above ground. We took all the flammable piping out of the tunnels. Compressor building, this is where gas gets compressed to be sent to our cogen facility. And what you see in the back is also part of our kind of like first phase of projects for odor control. So you can see those are our DAF tanks that we are rehabbing. And what you see is aluminum covers. And you see 3 lines of ductwork. That's basically all the odor control system. All air from there is gonna be collected and scrubbed and cleaned before releasing. Excuse me, let me just go to the next slide. The Headworks project, this is our second progressive design build job. Really impressive, very large in size. Jacobs is again our partner for design build in this one. I'm just showing you some of the new construction that is happening. This will also replace the original Headworks facility that we have from the 50s. Brand new, state of the art. And again, the drones are a good way to show, just so you can see the extent, you can see the cranes. These are really deep excavations that are being done right now. You can see here some of the newest structures being constructed. We are making good progress with this, and this is actually one of the more complex construction that we have right now. We are happy to answer more questions. And then just a few other projects, Nitrification Clarifier Rehab Phase 1. This is one of our regular rehabilitation projects. We're just basically rehabbing equipment and mechanisms in the tanks and doing some modifications. This is phase 1. There will be a second phase of the same second set of clarifiers later on. And then just like a quick summary, what is gonna happen in the next 6 months. We're gonna come back to council. There is a couple of construction projects that I wanna start. The jar piping improvements. We're gonna advertise our fire life safety and outflow channel. And we are also gonna initiate some other improvements on some of the jar piping that we show you at the beginning. In terms of programmatic activities, just to give you a sense, we are gonna be seeking new general engineering master agreements. We're almost at the end of our current master agreement, so this is just part of our ongoing professional services. This is kind of going through December. Actually, the virtual vendor open house happened in February. And that's something that we do every year just to give the community of consultants and contractors a sense of what is happening, make them aware of opportunities, and then just highlight some of the things that we're doing in the program. And then we're just gonna continue also with recruitment activities. We have still quite a bit of vacancies, especially in the engineering part, that we're trying to fill, and hopefully that will be more successful this year as well. And that's the end of the presentation. I try to keep it to less than 10 minutes. So if you guys have questions, we're happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mariana. Do any members of the public want to comment? I don't see any hands raised. So I'm gonna turn to my colleagues unless someone raises their hand. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments?
I'll
Right.
move approval.
Second.
Thank you. I do have one question, Mariana. The vacancies, I know this has been an ongoing issue. How many vacancies are there right now and what percentage does that? How many?
So we have around 10 vacancies right now. We are a division of 52, so it's like 20% of our division right now. We have had for the last few years several of our senior engineering positions that we have been unable to recruit for. And we have a couple of associate engineers and just some technician level positions right now.
Okay, thank you. If there's any way you can send those openings or a link to those openings to us on the council, especially in this committee, I think we are happy to put that in our newsletters and try
That would
to
be
get
great.
the word out that way.
That would be great. We're doing all sorts of outreach, so I'll work with HR. I'm happy to put it anywhere that can help us. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sometimes when they've been long-standing, it can just help to get the word out in a little bit of a different way. So
Thank you for that offer. We will do that.
you're welcome. We have one hand that keeps going up and down in the public. I'm not sure, Gina, did you want to? Let me see if it's up now. Yes,
Hi.
Blair.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. I
Hey.
wasn't sure that you'd see my hand, so I was going up and down. Thank you very much for taking my public comment at this time. I guess happy Monday after Easter. I got the sense from this past weekend that there's a bit of a, I don't know if the term is reckoning, but there seems to be a new need of holding our local government and federal government accountable for recent practices. We're 3 months into a new administration. I guess it's time to review ourselves and what we're doing. I know I am certainly going through that personally, and it hurts. And I think the Democratic side of things owes our public to be straightforward with their thinking. The Republican side of things needs to stop. They have a real serious head trip going on that they need to consider. With all that said, thank you for this item, and I am hopeful that there was an issue of purple pipes with wastewater management things that you're talking about a new Google project in the downtown area that would unify and singularly create like a one system of wires and pipes and for, you know, telecom, for electric needs, electricity needs, and wastewater too, I heard, and water, all within one system. And it was explained that day that the purple pipes of San Jose, you know, it was a great new project a few years ago, could not be a part of the new Google system downtown. And this.
The next public speaker is Roland. Can we start the clock when Roland starts to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm not going to need 2 minutes. I want to bring to your attention that I'm able to get closed captioning if I'm watching the meeting on YouTube. There is a time delay, but I'm unable to turn on closed captioning for Zoom. So I'd really appreciate if staff could look into the way to enable closed captioning for Zoom meetings. Thank you very much.
I'd like to remind commenters to please comment on the item at hand. The next speaker is with the phone number ending 5140.
Yeah, I hope you guys focus on, you know, real issues like the water, utilities. It seems as if you want to focus on bike lanes and other things. It's really important to focus on the infrastructure of the city. You know, pave the roads, don't rename them. But yeah, you guys better keep close attention when it comes to wastewater and our waterways and how the water works. And you guys need to make sure that Valley Water, San Jose Water, and all these people are doing the right thing. But you seem to want to focus on the homeless and these other fringe issues all the time. And you guys wonder why things don't work very well, because you focus on things that are not important. Now, all of a sudden, there's something important and you guys don't know what to do. It's really clear how unorganized you are and how it's easy to talk about the homeless or some other fringe group of people versus what really matters, which is, I mean, we all drink and have to use water, including the people on the city council and everything else. You guys are suicidal, I swear to God. It's unbelievable what you people do. And I also just want to wish everyone a happy Easter Monday, since the city was unable to wish everybody a happy Easter. Why, I don't know. Thanks a lot.
Councilmember Cohen, your hand is raised?
Yeah, I just raised my hand because I heard a kind of a question implied in the end of Mr. Beekman's comment, and I think I want to clarify. I hope I'm getting this right, but what we heard last week about the Google utility system was that because they're going to build their self-contained recycling water system, they will not be tapping into the purple pipes that the city has. It doesn't have any effect on whether or not the city can expand their purple pipes anywhere. The only downside to that is that if Google were to tap into the purple pipes, Google might spend some money to help extend the purple pipes. And without Google doing that, the city doesn't benefit from getting their pipes extended into that area because Google would pay for it. But this doesn't have any effect on whether or not the city can continue to expand purple pipes on its own to any place in the city. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear, since it sounded like there was some confusion about that.
Thank you. Yes, that's true. And none of that has any bearing on the capital improvement programs that are happening directly at the regional.
Right. Yes, yeah.
Does anyone else on the council have any questions or comments? Seeing none, we're ready for the vote.
Foley,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thank you.
That motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to item D2, Bike Plan and Trail Network Annual Update. Jessica Zank, are you leading us off?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. This is Jessica Zank. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Transportation. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Ramses Madhu and Liz Sewell, who are going to take us through the bulk of this presentation today. Go right ahead, Ramses.
Thank you, Jessica. Good afternoon, Chair and Council members, committee members. Let me share my screen here and jump right in. Get myself on the right screen. So yeah, we're going to go through the annual bike plan, now the Better Bike Plan 25 report, and the annual trails update. Let me just get us in the right. There we go. From beginning. All right, there we go. We're going to go through implementation status on our bikeways and trails, give you a couple project updates, and talk to you a little bit about funding needs and the strategies that we're working on to get to our funding needs, and then tell you a little bit about our annual Transportation Development Act projects and funding, which will be going to council later for approval. We wanted to start off first with a bit of a celebration. As we've been kind of telling you guys for a long time, the last Bike Plan 2020, came out to a finish, not only because the year 2020 came and passed, but because we actually accomplished the mileage goal in that plan. It was 400. And as of the end of the year, we had 401. And by the end of the pavement year, it looks like it'll be around 406 to 408. So we're really excited to feel like we've really accomplished something huge and been able to live out the promise of that last plan. So I wanted to start off with that, kind of remind ourselves of how how well things have actually been going for this. With that, we brought in Better Bike Plan 2025, which was adopted in October. And again, the vision there really was to bring our current bike system up to in all ages and abilities and background, a level of comfort and safety for everybody. So really being able to expand the use of our system to a lot more people. And in this new plan, we're looking at 557 miles of bikeway, including a lot of upgrades as well as new mileage. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Liz to take on the network, the trail network.
Thank you, Ramses. Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Sewell. I'm the trail manager for the city of San Jose. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our trail network updates over the past year. First, I wanted to start with this overall overview and show you on the left-hand side, you can see the Bay Area Trails Collaborative, which is a group of trail organizations and agencies in the Bay Area who have put together a comprehensive network of over 2,000 miles of trail, in which San Jose is a part of. So you can see San Jose's trail network expanded on the right side. This is our current public-facing map. We're in the process of updating it, but I wanted to show you because it gives you a good overall vision of what we're looking at. So you can see a lot of our north-south trails have been completed or at least envisioned, but there aren't as many east-west trails. And that is because many San Jose trails run along creeks and river corridors, which are mainly north-south, like Coyote, Los Gatos, Guadalupe. But there aren't as many east-west trails because there are fewer corridors, including like railroad corridors. Also, trails can follow railroad corridors. So that's just one of the reasons that it's great to partner with the DOT, because when there isn't an option for an off-road trail, there is often an option for an on-road protected bike lane or something like that. So if you can go to the next slide, Ramses. Thank you. So you can see here, this slide shows many of the projects that were scheduled to construct before 2024. And there are a couple of smaller ones that aren't included. For example, in CD6, we have a couple of segments of the Three Creeks Trail stemming from the new bridge. There's also a short spur from the Odette Moreau Trail off of Coyote Creek Trail in CD2, but you can see many of the upcoming trail projects in this map. Coyote Creek specifically is very busy. Some of it is even under construction as we speak. I was just on a field visit this morning to look at another segment of it, so it's very active. You can see the Thompson Creek Trail is shown in pink in CD8. These aren't all of the trails that are active. There are many other active trails. These are the trails that will be developed to construction within the next few years. And the reason that we only wanted to show a few years out is because after a few years, timelines for trail development can get fuzzy just because of major and unpredictable events like floods and other natural disasters and social issues and things that seem as simple as executive changes at railroads can really throw a wrench into trail development plans. But I wanted to also show, so there are many other trail projects that we're working on. We have a total of about 30 trail segments that we're working on. So I also included a couple of photos. Ramses, if you can go to the next slide. So for example, this was taken actually last year on a field visit with advocates. It shows the alignment for our Five Wounds Trail, which is in CD 3 and 7. And if you could continue on to the next slide. So this one is the Guadalupe River Trail between Virginia and Chenoweth. So both of these, the Guadalupe River Trail through CD 6 and 9 is still in the master plan phase. We're working with a water district, and they're also doing flood improvements. And the Five Wounds Trail is in the planning phase. We actually just had our first site visit last week. So it's exciting stuff, and hopefully they will be on the ground within the next 10 years. So that is all I have for now. I'm gonna hand it back over to Ramses.
Thanks, Liz. Yeah, there's some exciting work going on the streets as well in the bike network. Here are two of the projects that are in the midst of getting completed or very close to getting completed. We have the 10th and 11th project. If you've been downtown lately, this goes north from, or actually goes the entire length of 10th and 11th. And we are building out some innovative designs there that are helped us solve the very hard problem of creating protected bikeways along roads with a lot of driveways. We're creating an innovative frontage lane there, and that's actually the cement barriers that will fill in the here on the top left photo. You have this kind of barred striping here that'll be filled in with curb starting by the construction project will start by the end of the month. And then on the right side here, we have East San Antonio. This is a very important east-west connection in the bike network. It is one of the few places where we can really make sure there's strong support for bicyclists going east-west. One of the clear directives we got from council when we adopted the bike plan. And you can see here both the protected treatments that we are doing at some intersections, some roundabouts, to protect that. And also interestingly with this project, actually right at this corner here in the bottom right, there's some local designed art stamped into the sidewalks that we were able to work with some local artists on. Here are some other current paving program projects. You may have noticed on Nagley a lane reduction there in front of the hashery or the schools or the museum out there. That segment of Nagley just got a great redo. Fruitdale is being paved as we speak. And here are some other ones. This next paving year for 2021, we're looking at 10 miles of new bikeways and 20 miles of enhancements to existing bikeways, either going to buffer or protected. All right, so getting into the funding conversation, kind of keeping this top of mind for folks. The total on-street network costs for the bike plan, you can see the ranges here, are upwards of 260 million. The focus areas, which were the areas North San Jose and downtown and East San Jose, and some other areas of the city. This is kind of our 5-year plan. Sorry, of those focus areas, get us out to about 121, 162 million. And then we have our 5-year priority projects. And these are our really big bang for the buck, most effective projects. And there we're looking at 70 to 94 million. We're looking at a whole host of different strategies, mostly grant strategies to get this done. To see what we can do. We have some of them in hand, like the Transportation Development Act, but we're starting a program of developing grant applications early and working with VTA, MTC, and other funding bodies to really look at this. We're even looking at a philanthropy-based attempt at seeing if folks, kind of like the Bloomberg folks came in with the climate challenge. We're looking to see if there's other philanthropic sources of funds for this as well. Again, these are the focus areas on the left, and on the right are the primary on-street network, which is mostly the 5-year plan. And you can see how it kind of spreads across the city and really gives a lot of folks a great way to get around town by bike. And I'll pass it back to Liz to talk a little bit about project development and funding on her side.
Thank you, Ramses. So this slide shows all of the phases of a typical trail development. And just to give you a ballpark figure, we have estimated costs for the build out of the remaining 40 miles of trail will be approximately $300 million. And this assumes a per mile cost of $4 million, and then also adds on bridges and underpasses and other kind of expensive infrastructure that we need to safely cross rail and street and other. But that number includes all of the studies, master plans, environmental work, design, construction, project management, everything. And the build out of the trail network to date has mainly been accomplished by aligning and leveraging local resources and competitive grants, but it unfortunately has not been enough to keep pace with the previous goal of 100 miles of trails by 2022. I think that was in the green vision. So what current staffing can do, it's me, my senior analyst, and then Eve Zudi, who you all probably know, will continue pursuit of local and external resources to continue developing out this trail network.
Great, thanks, Liz. And oh, sorry, there was that animation I was supposed to help you there with. All right, and then lastly, this is going to council, full council, but we want to make sure we air it with you first. This is the annual Transportation Development Act, or TDA 3. It's a very flexible source of funding that we can use for bike and safety projects. This is our projected uses or our stated uses that we'd like to bring to council on this. This fund has been incredibly helpful in patching up funding holes and keeping programs going when there's not much else. Bike projects and safety projects like this are a different type of animal than the big, huge projects we're used to. And so getting flexible funding is one of the most important things because you are moving smaller things around. Having immense amounts of administration on top of it really make it very hard to match them up. And so we really like this source. Yeah, and with that, we'll leave it open for questions.
Thank you. We have a number of members of the public who would like to speak. And again, I would like to remind the members of the public that we are talking about the Better Bike Plan 2025 and Trail Network Annual Update. Please keep your comments on topic. Our first speaker is Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you. I will try my best to keep on topic. Thank you for the words of Councilperson Cohen on the previous item, who totally clarified what I was trying to ask about and get to, and I just ran out of time to speak a bit more about it, and he clarified it very well. Thank you. About this item, the VTA is working a lot. I've been mentioning recently on super bike trail, super highway issues. And the VTA is developing an overall philosophy that they're really going to be counting on San Jose for its bike trail decision-making in its future. And, you know, there's a good group of people who work with VTA issues. You know, we're trying to create ideas of what can be equity for the future of bike trails and how that relates to East Side issues. It's really important. There's no super highway stuff that goes, or super bike highway stuff that goes into South San Jose or East San Jose goes into East San Jose through South San Jose. It's all North San Jose projects. You're interested in the east-west connections. How can that be done in an equitable way and to really monitor the gentrification process that may be taking place that Paul Soto is so worried about? Good luck in how you address these things. There's going to be Vision Zero issues involved, and that means there's going to be issues of surveillance and technology. Please don't be afraid to work with open public policies in that process as well along these bike trails. The city of Davis, as I always try to remind, has some really interesting ideas about open public policy with technology along its wildlife trails that I think can really help this situation and really work towards the important ideas of equity that is so important at this time. thanks for your time and patience, and that's about it for myself. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Paul Soto.
Thank you for that, Blair. I appreciate that. I really do. My name's Paul Soto, and a few items. Number one, safety and equity. Those words were not defined within the context of bike trails. I need them explicitly defined on how you define those words within the context of this conversation. That's number one. Number two, trails along the railroad corridors, which connect all these canneries. Okay, so these canneries, when you follow the railroad trails, they are aligned to connect every single one of the canneries. The ones that filled those trains were my people, Chicanos, here in Salsipuedes and around the city and the Horseshoe. What I take great exception with, and I hope that it stops being perverted and prostituted, because that's exactly what is happening with respect to the grants that are submitted. Here's what I mean by that. When you start using the word equity, immediately after you talked about equity, the slide went to where the trails were going to be primarily located, that were going to be built up in terms of the infrastructure and the improvements. It was Fruitdale, Lean Avenue, all of these places on the west side of San Jose, which enhances the property values in those areas. Now, you need to keep equity out of your mouth. It needs to stop. And I need some advocacy on this council in order to clearly state and signal that you are not going to use the poverty that was created in this area that has not been rectified, reconciled, or restituted yet. But yet you're going to use it to insert it in these documents in order to get the grant approvals. This is a perversion. This is an exploitation of the poor and the poverty that has been created in this area when this city council has never rectified or reckoned with that dark history in San Jose.
Next speaker is the phone number ending in 5140.
I mean, these bike lanes are wonderful, but it's making driving really terrible. You talked about the bike lanes on Nagley, awful. You go to make a turn from Meridian or a park onto Nagley, and there you can't help but go into the bike lane. You made this turn so tight. It's not good for cars. It's not good for cyclists. And then the bike lane that parallels the Rose Garden, you got to smash your tires into the curb to be able to parallel park the thing because there's no room for parking. And some vehicles are wider than others, and they go into the bike lane. Not good for the cyclist, not good for the driver. You guys need to redo these bike lanes. Some of them are nice, you know, the way that you do it. Other ones are squared off, so it's almost impossible to make the turn without going into the bike lane. And we all know what's going to happen. You guys are going to have SJPD out there making sure no one's tire goes into the bike lane and give that person a nice fat ticket, because that's what you people do, right? You design things for that to happen. So the bike lanes on 10th and 11th, you guys shouldn't be proud of those at all. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Those bike lanes are terrible, totally non-intuitive, easy to drive into. I don't know who thought of that, but they were a complete moron. They should have been a lot more narrow. Next time you guys repaint these bike lanes, you need to think about not just the cyclist, but the driver. And you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars. These roads are as bumpy as anything. You guys need to repave these roads. You're talking about getting them repaved in the next 10 or 15 years. You guys need to do it in the next 10 or 15 months. I don't know what you're waiting for, but there seems to be all this money for these bike lanes everywhere. It makes no sense at all. Whoever did this, it was a road to hell paved with good intentions.
Thank you. The next speaker is Roland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was really, really excited about the slide that showed the Upper Guadalupe, on the extension between Virginia and Chenoweth. But what I'm wondering through the chair is whether the staff have actually looked at the connection between Virginia at the intersection with the Caltrain tracks and Ozare as part of the disc. Because to me, this seems to be really obvious, because the fact that we're going to be elevating the tracks at Diridan means that we're going to have to be raising the bridge over Highway 280, at which point putting a trail in there as part of that infrastructure is actually quite simple. And if anybody's interested, I'd be happy to share the preliminary engineering drawings, which, as far as I'm concerned, are part of the disc. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next public speaker is James Watson.
Oh, thanks so much for taking my call. Well, my opportunity to speak. Actually, I just want to thank you guys for all the effort that you do to put bike lanes in. I am a cyclist, and I recognize that there's challenges sometimes. One of the caller was talking about cars versus bikes, and having to balance that out. And I understand that that's probably a very challenging task. So I just really want to thank you guys for putting in that, because I put 25 miles on my bike over the weekend, and I rode on some really, really nice trails that I just looked up and smiled and said, thank you for this being here. It's just so nice. And, of course, there's going to be issues, and of course, there's going to be challenges. And but being able to take my bike and go for a nice long ride was really great. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And turning back to the council, Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you to the staff on this presentation. Certainly, as we've begun a lot of our efforts in building out our bike lanes, that work has started in the downtown core and really branched out. And so we appreciate seeing all that investment and being able to actually utilize that as a resident of downtown on a daily basis. I had a couple questions. I know that unfortunately Peter Bennett recently left DOT, and he was very responsive to the concerns and complaints that came in around bike lanes, always working with stakeholders to educate them, also to find solutions, mitigate some of the impacts. How is DOT going to or have we already sort of filled that role? And more importantly, just want to make sure that we can continue that level of responsiveness that I think Peter was really good at.
Yeah, thanks. And Peter was a huge asset to us, and we're sad he left. Friday was actually his last day, and we've been triaging his workload and all of that. Yeah, so we are continuing, we're passing actually Ryan Smith, who was on the call. There he is still here, is taking on a lot of the workload and making sure that we continue that level of project engagement, public outreach in particular, and making sure we continue to communicate all the changes that are coming and respond to the comments we're getting in there. On 10th and 11th, which was a huge one, we're going through the next stage. Curbs are going in, so we're going to be communicating about that to everybody through the already built out public engagement process there. We actually got a lot of engagement through the website, as well as Peter himself kind of making sure he got as many people as possible there. And San Antonio is the other major project that he was involved in, and so will continue to have a lot of effort there. Peter Rice on our team is always going to be really leading that one. He led the En Movimento plan, so we'll be making sure we keep that going. I believe I answered all your question, but I may have missed a piece there.
Yeah, no, you did. And just for those individuals that might be taking over his responsibilities for some of these projects that impact District 3, would love to just have them reach out to my office so that way we can, and I've actually worked with them already, but just wanted to be able to ensure that we have a smooth transition. And then in regards to the bike lanes that are on 10th and 11th Street, I believe it was on slide 9, as well as San Fernando, there are still a lot of missing bollards that are there. I wanted to know when that work is expected to be complete. Certainly, kind of the half-done jobs, right, are confusing to to our users on the roadway. So wanted to see when that is expected to be completed.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Absolutely, and we totally understand that when you change the roadway and then it doesn't all happen at once, it's not exactly what we want to do. We did have a COVID-related supply chain slowdown that led to the bollards coming in later than we expected. They are arriving this week, and we're already working with crews to put it into their workflow. So we should start seeing bollards going up very shortly, I would say within the next few weeks. And then again, there's going to be a short turnaround in some places where the curbs are going up. The construction project to actually put the curbs in, which is the ultimate design in most of these places, will start by the end of the month. And so we got the candlesticks, which are the in effect the cones, the kind of more robust cones out there in most cases as of the end of last week on Friday. Actually, Peter, one of his last things he did was make sure those candlesticks got out there with the directional signage saying "Park here, bike there." But yeah, we'll be moving into the next phase of the project as soon as possible. And again, construction on the final version of much of this is supposed to begin by the end of the month. There's still a little tentativeness in the construction schedule, but that's what our construction managers are telling us right now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I did see the park here, bike here signs, and those made it even that much more helpful, I know, for users. Last question would be, once everything is installed, the bollards at least are installed, how are we going to be monitoring, either monitoring for education and then eventually enforcement for the local access versus the through street?
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily have an active monitoring enforcement process, right? I mean, we're certainly going to be taking complaints, and we'll. I live 2 blocks from here, so I'll be watching. And Jess actually lives a few blocks away as well, and so we'll definitely be kind of personally monitoring things. But there is not necessarily any more than normal traffic enforcement. But it looks like Jess wants to add there too.
Well, I was only going to add, I think everybody on the city council and the committee is aware that our parking and traffic control officers have had a lot of jobs this year during COVID. They've been pulled in many directions. However, one thing that they were doing in 2019 and, schedules permitting will continue to do this year is to do some of their parking enforcement activities by bike. And they have been giving warnings and then tickets when they find people who persist in not being in the right place along those lanes. So warnings to start, of course, because change is hard and people make honest mistakes. But then, we have moved to ticketing in those locations. So whether they're on bike or in one of the vehicles, that will happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I do appreciate, again, the work that's gone into this, and look forward to it being complete. And I think certainly will be a nice improvement from what we've seen in some of our more standard bike lanes. And that's it for my questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Foley.
Thank you. I just have a couple of questions. Thank you for the report. Ramses, regarding the Transportation Development Act funding, those are federal dollars? State dollars?
State dollars, yeah.
State dollars, okay. And they're, you mentioned that they were more flexible. So regarding the president's infrastructure package, is there anything in there for increased bike paths or trails throughout in our country? And will we be watching that? You're shaking your heads. Yes, so there is.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's
okay.
really exciting, right? I mean, the new Secretary of Transportation being a city person, and not only a city person, but somebody who actually has put in his time as mayor when he was mayor, fighting for complete streets and fighting for safety projects, right? I mean, he can tell you, when he talks, sometimes it sounds like somebody from the DOT talking. It's really exciting. It's somebody at such a high level understands kind of the structure and stuff we deal with. So they're up there. They're very interested in it. The DOT policy shop does work through my group. And we're pushing, and so we've already had meetings with the senators and all of the federal representatives who are helping with this. We're trying to put in some safety and bike projects through 2 different congressional earmark-like processes right now. And we are seeing both Vision Zero as well as Complete Streets being categorical funding sources that may come through either the infrastructure piece that's coming out right now, as well as we're seeing a renewal of the Surface Transportation Act, which is the major federal funding mechanism for it. So we're quite excited to see that motion and kind of have city, state, and feds all lined up along a multimodal greener world direction could be pretty beneficial to us.
Wonderful. Great. I'm glad to hear that it includes that. And I know you'll be watching and working with them and Mr. Buttigieg as much as possible. He is a little wonky in that subject, but that's who you want in that position, I suppose. With that, I thank you very much. With that, I will move to accept the report.
Second.
Thank you. Following on to Councilmember Foley's questions on the infrastructure package, the items that you've seen, are those like competitive grants, or are they going to be kind of block allocations? Will they come directly to us? Will we have to compete with others in the state? What's the funding kind of looking like? It's going to line up in form.
So we're still waiting to see exactly what happens, right? So right now there's somewhat competitive earmark-like processes going on. So we'll see if we can win some of those. Then in the infrastructure bill itself, we're not really sure. It's still kind of unclear as to exactly how things are going to come down, but it looks like categorical pieces will probably usually end up in some form of competition. We have been putting a lot of input into the system and actually have had it accepted as part of our state's delegations input to the process. That flexible spending, particularly around these kinds of projects, is really, really important. And folks have really listened to us on this so far, so we're really happy to hear that. But at this point, it's most likely going to be what it normally is, which is some program funds and then a lot of competitive funds and all that. And hopefully the systems or the processes change in such a way that the competitive funds don't come with overhead that ends up costing you about half the funds anyways. So that's kind of what we're really pushing for.
And the delegation, when you're working with that, are you working with the kind of the green streets and the other infrastructure? So this is kind of talking about the urban greening infrastructure implementation plan that I have been talking about, so that there's flexibility in timelines when we're talking about a multi-objective project.
Yep, very much so.
Absolutely. And just in particular, I think people may or may not be aware that Senator Padilla has secured a space on the Environment and Public Works Committee, which is crafting that new surface transportation authorization. So feeding his team directly our priorities, including for Vision Zero and urban greening and other complete streets aspects. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, awesome. I had a question about the specifics on the TDA spending. When you're talking about citywide bikeway implementation, pedestrian safety improvements, and bicycle safety education, the bicycle safety education, it's $100K. Is that for the walk and roll program specifically, or are there other programs that I don't know about?
No, that's our, that is for our walk and roll program to complement the Measure B education and outreach program. And sometimes there's a bit of miscellaneous other education outreach, but the bulk of it is for the walk and roll program and associated Vision Zero work.
Okay, and then the pedestrian safety improvements, it said construct sidewalk gap closures. Can you talk about that? Is that where there's sidewalk, then there's no sidewalk, and then there's sidewalk again?
Yep.
How far does 200K get us? And how much do
not
we
a
have
ton, but it
identified gaps in the city?
Yeah, I mean, we have an identified gaps map, and we try to bring this money along when especially when pavement programs go into an area. A lot of times the pavement program needs to get the pavement down, and the other things in the area don't get done. And so we like to have some extra funding to help kind of, as we roll the street out, let's roll the whole environment out, right? And so this is funding that helps us with that.
Okay, and so I don't know of very many in areas like that in District 6, but I know District 1 has them, and District 5, when I used to live in District 5, I was pushing a stroller at that point when I lived out there, and there are a lot of areas that don't have sidewalks. So how do you prioritize? I don't know how many miles we're talking about and how far 200,000 gets us, but how do you prioritize the projects if you have multiple projects going, pavement projects going on? Who gets this? If it's such a small amount, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no, that's sensible. I can't say we have a prioritization system that kind of looks at everything all together when we do this. We roll this out with kind of an on year basis, and kind of figure out where the most value is going to be, where projects lead into, let's say there's curb cuts that need to be done, there's a trail connection and the sidewalk's missing and all this, we'll kind of try to do it together. It's a little bit ad hoc decision making, but it, again, flexibility and trying to figure out how it works is the best here. We have submitted for a pedestrian plan for the city that would help us do this, because the problem is we have a decent idea of where the gaps are, but we know we're missing some information, especially when we take in the county pockets. The county didn't have sidewalk rules when a lot of development happened within their areas, and so a lot of times we're taking things in and we don't know exactly what's happening in there. And so there's work to be done in terms of identification of issues, and then, like you said, prioritization. So yeah. Okay.
And so is there in that plan that you were talking about, Ramses, that will include prioritization and like objective criteria to determine where those dollars get spent?
Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, it would. I want to be clear. Ramses said we have sought that, so we have an active application in for that grant funding because we don't have that as a city. And so if we get that, then that would start the process of pulling that sidewalk gap inventory, making sure it's complete, and setting the criteria for prioritization.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think that's it for my questions. Oh, I had one more question, and I think Roland asked this question just about the trails and the disc process and how that might change the potential for trail network in the city.
Yes. So the disc opportunity to raise the tracks about 20 feet up will, in fact, as Roland said, give us a new opportunity to perhaps repurpose the existing rail bridge or build one that's associated with those new tracks as they go in. We see that as a great opportunity to connect across 280. Sorry for my background noise. Looking for a mask. With that in mind, that is a great new connection, but I think our colleagues like Liz have the requirement to kind of plan for these two time horizons and make sure that the trails work in the immediate term, as well as make sure that they work in the long term with the elevated tracks. So it's a complex addition.
Thank you. Liz, did you want to weigh in on that? Because trails are so expensive per mile. I mean, it's such a huge expense. And I know that we've talked about with the Google project about hopefully building out the trail so that there's a connection directly to the Diridon station kind of through the project. But given that DISC has maybe a longer timeline, I see Eve unmuted, so maybe Eve wants to take this one. And Liz, you might be off the hook, but how are we planning to kind of phase that and use our dollars wisely?
Thank you, Councilmember Davis. Excuse me, Eve Zudi, Division Manager with Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services, and Liz and I have a robust workload, so I've been covering a lot of the Los Gatos Creek work. We're looking at it really carefully. What we've tried to do is be strategic in terms of we don't want to build the Los Gatos Creek project to know that it's going to be gone within a couple of years. So we're looking really carefully at the time horizons. We're looking at material selection and maybe taking out content like fancy gateway elements if we're going to deem that particular project interim, even if it's a 10-year time horizon, so that people don't look back at us and say, well, you just built that 10 years ago, now you've taken it out. So we're being mindful of that. The tricky part with all this and with high-speed rail is that it's hard to really pin things down. So there's a good share of guesswork in what we're doing, but we're trying to be careful.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's worth continuing to have these conversations because even if high-speed rail doesn't come, there's still the Google or the Caltrain expansion, and of course the Google project. And Caltrain does have a dedicated source of funding, and we're talking about potentially, hundreds more trains a day than they have now if ridership recovers and all of those things, which we won't know for a few years. So I appreciate that. I think we're going to have to continue having those conversations. And it wasn't something that I thought of until Jess said, there's phasing issues, and I hadn't thought about the tracks going up, and then we build a trail, and then the trail doesn't connect to the new spots. So thank you. I appreciate that. I think Councilmember Perales, you still have your hand up. Did you have something else you wanted to chime in?
I apologize. No, that was an accident.
No worries. I think we're ready for the vote then.
Foley,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item D3, the Regional Wastewater Facilities Pre-Treatment Program. Rajani?
Hi, thank you, Chair and members of the committee and members of the public. My name is Rajani Nair. I'm the Deputy Director for the Watershed Protection Division and Environmental Services Department. One of my staff, Casey Fitzgerald, who's one of the program managers that oversees this program, he'll be doing the presentation. So thank you.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson Davis, council members, staff, members of the public. Good afternoon. I'm Casey Fitzgerald, Senior Environmental Program Manager with the Watershed Protection Division of the Environmental Services Department. In this afternoon's presentation, we'll be discussing the city's industrial pretreatment program. We'll give an overview of the program elements and history. We'll discuss some of the programmatic elements and some of the work we've done during the pandemic. And we'll also review proposed ordinance changes to Chapter 1514 of the San Jose Municipal Code, also known as the Sewer Use Ordinance. So the city of San Jose operates two sewer systems. The sanitary sewer system collects and transports wastewater from indoor uses to the regional wastewater facility where it's treated prior to discharge to the bay. This is commonly known as the collection system. The storm sewer system collects rainwater and other runoff from outdoor uses. This water is largely untreated and it is discharged directly to the creeks and to the bay. This system is commonly known as the MS4 or the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. It's important to note that both of these sewer systems are regulated under state-issued National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permits. The pretreatment program is focused on regulating wastes in discharge to the sanitary sewer system. The program works to control industrial waste to ensure that discharges from industrial users are suitable for the collection system and for the operations at our regional wastewater facility. So why is pretreatment important? Industrial pretreatment, first and foremost, is a direct requirement under the Clean Water Act. Industrial users are required to treat their waste at their own expense prior to discharge to ensure suitability with downstream systems. Pretreatment is important for the protection of human health, the environment, and infrastructure. It's important to note that our regional wastewater facility is designed to treat conventional pollutants only. That includes things like pH, solid materials, floating materials, sinking, Not necessarily the kinds of toxic pollutants that you would see coming from industrial discharges. These include things like metals, solvents, cyanides, proprietary chemistries. This is where our program comes in to regulate these wastes and to protect our regional wastewater facility. I've included some pictures of what unmitigated industrial pollution looks like in the sanitary sewer system. In the upper right, that photo is Louisville, Kentucky. This is a low part in the sewer main where an industrial discharger had been discharging hexane gas over a period of time. Once conditions were right and a vehicle was driving overhead, a spark created an explosion in the sewer system, resulting in the loss of life. And as you can see, some pretty heavy infrastructure damage. The picture on the lower right, most of you have likely seen. This is the Cuyahoga River in Ohio. In the 1950s and 60s, this river caught fire nearly a dozen times due to uncontrolled industrial pollution flowing directly to it. And I will note that this picture of the Cuyahoga River on fire is really one of the things that helped to usher in the Clean Water Act in 1972, sweeping regulations that really focused on cleaning up the nation's waterways. So as a regulatory authority, the pretreatment program works under a defined set of regulations at the federal, state, and local level. At the federal level, EPA has promulgated nationwide standards based on best available technologies. It also includes general and specific prohibitions in addition to industry-specific regulations. At the state level, the state's responsible for administering the NPDES, or the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System. This is a permitting program to allow discharges to the waters of the state. In the RWF, or the Regional Wastewater Facilities Permit, there's actually a direct requirement to implement a pretreatment program. This is based on the size of the facility itself, the volume of its flows, and also the industrial component flowing into it. At a local level, this is when we really start to dial into looking at environmental factors. Local regulations are environmentally based. This includes the development of local discharge limits for industrial dischargers. It's focused on protecting our receiving waters, which is the south end of the San Francisco Bay. And it also looks at the regional wastewater facilities' ability to remove certain types of pollutants. All this helps to shape kind of an industrial component of what industrial users can discharge to our regional wastewater facility. The final point I'll make on local regulations is that we are required to develop local regulations to through our sewer use ordinance, which we'll discuss a little bit later on. A little bit on the regulatory structure that we exist in. We are a regulatory authority. Just as we regulate industries in our area, so too are we regulated by the state and the federal government. The overall delegation goes from the feds to the state and to us. So our program is somewhat unique in that we directly enforce federal law. I will also note that with that comes a lot of scrutiny. So since 2009, our program has been audited by the state or the federal government a total of 7 times. The pretreatment program is unique among city programs in that it works across the regional wastewater facilities service area. This is a 9-city, 300 square mile area with a population of approximately 1.4 million people. This service area includes the city of San Jose and Santa Clara as co-owners of the regional wastewater facility. It also includes Milpitas, West Valley Sanitation District, Cupertino Sanitary District, Burbank Sanitary District, and County Sanitation Districts 2, 3 as what we call the tributary agencies or contributing jurisdictions. I do want to note that this program, the pretreatment program, is funded through the Treatment Plant Operating Fund, Fund 513. And I provided here a map of our service areas showing the different areas that we work in with the various other municipalities and sanitary agencies highlighted. So a little bit about the history of the program. This program started as what was called the Industrial Waste Program in the 1950s when our regional wastewater facility was formed. The primary focus at that time was on cannery waste and the production of what was called weekly cannery reports. So at that point, flow was a big issue, as was biological pollution. So, just solids and other materials that just take a lot to break down at our regional wastewater facility. So at that point, the program worked hard and was in close communication with all the canneries in the area to understand what was in production, what kind of flows would we expect. In 1972, everything all changed, of course, with the promulgation of the Clean Water Act. This really paved the way for what would become the modern pretreatment regulations. In the 1980s, the city of San Jose formalized its pretreatment program, gaining state approval to implement this program. We've continuously implemented this program since. And I do want to say that this program has also adapted to local industrial trends over time. We saw this valley start with the canneries and then move into defense contractors, followed by hard disk drives, printed circuit boards, semiconductor fabrication. More recently, we've seen trends in solar research and development and pharmaceutical manufacturing. And as we move into the future, this program will continue to adapt. You know, as we start looking at wastewater as a resource, a possible source of drinking water, we will continue to protect those sources for our citizens. A few of the program elements I want to touch on. So we have a full inspection and monitoring program where we have about 250 permitted facilities that we inspect and sample 2 to 4 times per year. We have a full permitting program. We permit all of our industrial users on a 5-year cycle. We also issue temporary or short-term permits to construction projects in the area. We have a reporting program where we receive industrial self-monitoring reports from the industries that we regulate, but we also provide regular twice-yearly reports to our state regulators. We have an enforcement model or an enforcement program that's based on an escalating enforcement model. This includes things like verbal warnings, warning notices, escalating all the way up to notices of violation, administrative citations, and other legal avenues. We also have a surveillance monitoring program that we implement. This works to seek out instances of illegal dumping by our industries, and it also serves as a deterrent to illegal dumping. And finally, just wanted to highlight that we have a full dental amalgam program. We regulate dental practices in the South Bay area. We currently have around 850 dental practices permitted. The reason there is dental mercury, which is the largest identified controllable source of mercury in our collection system. The graph on the right here shows some of the trends over time and some of the heavy metals at our regional wastewater facility. You're looking at trends from around 1975 until last year. As you can see, there's been some pretty significant declines in metals concentrations at our regional wastewater facility. That's thanks in part to the efforts of this program, but I would also say, you know, an overall trend in society towards, you know, better environmental stewardship. So I wanted to highlight some of the industry types that our team regulates here in the Valley. So the first picture upper left, this is a metal plating operation. You're looking at a plating tank filled with dissolved metals. The pollutants of concern here obviously would be those dissolved metals, but also pH and other chemistries coming from these sites. This is where we really rely on industry to pre-treat their waste, to take care of their problems before they send them to us. If this plating waste were to come to our facility, there would be little that we could do, and it could flow out untreated depending on the volume that comes through. In the upper right, you're looking at semiconductor fabrication. We have a number of those in our area. Among pretreatment programs in the United States, we have probably the highest percentage of semiconductor houses in our area. So pollutants of concern here would include metals again, but also solvents and other exotic chemistries, a lot of proprietary chemistries used in these semiconductor fabs. So our inspectors work closely with them to understand, you know, what's going on, what's the chemistry being used, how can we best control it. The picture on the bottom left is a food manufacturing facility. We regulate those as well. Pollutants of concern there are mainly solids, oils, and greases, but also some of the cleaning chemistries and disinfectant compounds that these places use can be quite acidic or basic and can have impacts on our collection system. And then finally, the last picture I've included here, one of our local asphalt manufacturers, Reed and Graham. You've likely seen them as you're driving 280 north or south. This is one of our oldest industrial users, and we're still happy to see them in existence. They manufacture asphalt, and of course the concern there would be solids, oils, and greases, and flammable substances. So of course, I just wanted to show you a quick subset of the things that we look at. We regulate any number of businesses and industries in the Valley here. Also want to note that the federal regulations themselves have specific discharge limits that are built on specific industry types. There's around 50 industrial classes that the federal government looks at nationwide. These range and vary from things like airplane de-icing to rubber manufacturing, metal forming and die casting, pharmaceutical compounding, battery manufacturing. It's a pretty sizable list. Excuse me. So the pretreatment program relies on several tools to enforce environmental regulations. This includes our permitting program, as mentioned, where all dischargers are required to obtain a permit prior to discharge to our system. We have our inspection and monitoring programs where we inspect and monitor each industry 2 to 4 times per year. We operate a full enforcement program that ensures consistency and escalation through state-approved through a state-approved enforcement response plan. We also have a reporting program where we require industries at their own expense to do their own monitoring and analysis and then report those to us. And finally, I want to mention that we also rely heavily on partnerships. We work in a pretty defined lane of regulation. However, we do have inspectors on the ground at facilities at any given time. If we observe possible violations of ordinances outside of our jurisdiction, we do have a full referral process for that. So collectively, all of us regulatory agencies here, we try to work together to be, if we notice something that may be of interest to another agency, we'll forward that on. Shifting gears, wanted to touch base and talk a little bit about the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, as a regulatory agency that relies on inspectors being in the field and at the businesses that we regulate, certainly we had to make some changes there. In March 2020, we went ahead and transitioned to a full remote workforce. We've largely been working that way since. We've been conducting our inspections using Zoom and other remote conferencing applications, FaceTime, et cetera, with actually good success. And I really commend our inspectors for their flexibility there and the industries as well for their willingness to work with us in that way. We've also implemented enhanced communication and guidance for our industrial users for how they should handle certain business practices or reporting requirements to us during the pandemic. And then lastly, we developed comprehensive safety addenda for each of our field inspection and sampling standard operating procedures. These were submitted to EOC back in July, August of last year and were approved in the fall. So as conditions change with the county's orders from purple to red to orange tier, we'll adapt based on city manager's direction for our field crews. And then finally on the slide, wanted to highlight some of the work that we did. We supported our laboratory and regional partners in a regional effort to monitor COVID-19 in our collection system. So the picture on the upper right here is 2 of our inspectors prepping a sampler to drop into the collection system. Let's see. Okay, today we're also advancing an update to San Jose Municipal Code Chapter 15.14. That's commonly referred to as the Sewer Use Ordinance or the Sewer Use Regulations. It's a 2-part update, and it includes changes to the municipal codes, as well as revisions to some of the administrative citation fine amounts. These updates are largely driven by regulatory audit findings, and they include the incorporation of additional definitions and an overall harmonization of our sewer use ordinance with some of the federal regulations. The update also includes some staff recommended changes. These include streamlining code references to better enforce violations and enhancing clarification for industrial users on certain program requirements, including permit transfers and dental practice specific requirements. All told, these updates will work to strengthen the city's ability to enforce environmental code violations, and they'll clarify requirements for our industrial users discharging to our system. The code update itself is somewhat unique, so I wanted to talk about that here. It is a regional approach to ensure consistency throughout our entire service area where we work. So starting this week, we're before you here at T&E. On Thursday, we'll be at TPAC to review with them. We're also awaiting feedback from the Regional Water Quality Control Board to see if they have any proposed changes. We are required anytime we change our ordinance to provide them with 45 days notice. That period ends in mid-April, so we would expect to hear any feedback by then, at which point we're prepared to go to full city council for adoption. And then once adopted, we'll work with each of our tributary agencies as required under interjurisdictional agreements with our regional wastewater facility to go ahead and roll those code updates into their specific municipal or operations codes. And with that, I would like to thank the committee members and staff for your time and consideration on this matter, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Casey and Rajani. We are going to go to public comment first. Paul Soto.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman. First of all, I'd like to thank you for the report. It was comprehensive and it was explicit, and I appreciate that. The ambiguity and lack of explicit language within the conduction of city business is something that I have a hard time dealing with, but you were the exception, so I want to thank you for that. Secondly, historically, Sal Si Puedes had open sewers. With respect to sewer systems, Sal Si Puedes had open sewer systems. The infrastructure there lacked any city attention, any at all. And so with that in mind, what I would like to emphasize is that you're gonna have City View Plaza, you're gonna have Adobe, and then you're gonna have Google, all within proximity to each other. These corporations are going to produce an enormous amount of waste product that this city has no precedent for dealing with and accommodating. And I say that to say this, is that I'd like to know specifically what responsibility the city has to it, because the council members that are active right now, they're not going to be in office by the time that all of this infrastructure is set in place to determine where whether or not they're in compliance. Okay, everybody here is going to be gone. And so I want to have some assurance of what the city's responsibility does so that the city itself doesn't defer to a state or federal government to regulate what this council here is okay. And so that's the kind of responsibility that I would like to see from this council as a citizen of the city that's going to still be here at these meetings long after the people that are here on this council are going to be gone and off, doing other things. I'm still going to be here and I'm still going to be contending with these issues. So I'd just like to know what kind of assurances we have in terms of local supervision.
Thank you. The next speaker is Blair Beekman.
Hi, thank you for the words of Paul Soto. I think I try to apply his last words about what is the supervisor process around, say, the future of wastewater management. And, there's going to be a big push coming up, to kind of like create a new environmental system of wastewater storm drainage issues and, a green system. And I think Deb Davis is a lot of that work. And it sounds like really interesting work, but there may be a gentrification process to it that I don't know. Sometimes may be good, sometimes it may not be good. Who's to judge? What is the judgment? Will Paul Soto be there to monitor how this progress is taking place? And comment, and will those comments be taken in, and how will adjustments be made for these upcoming green wastewater issues in local streets, and how this relates to, say, building east-west bike trails in the future of San Jose. I'd like to really thank the people on the east side who are working really hard on this issue, and it's the auxiliary bike trails and wastewater management issues and good open public policies for the technology around these issues. Those all need to be factors to consider. And so good luck in how you work on this issue, and thanks for your time, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Turning back to the committee, are there any comments or questions for staff?
Move to accept the report.
Thank you. I'll second that.
A second.
Thanks. I just have one. Rajani, did you want to talk about the Google requirements? They're not producing anything. I don't know that they fall under this category, and their district system where they will be treating their wastewater on site for the most part, and then sending some of it to the regional wastewater facility. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I'm not too familiar with the details of the Google development. I don't know if Knapp is here. He may want to answer.
Yep, I can do that.
Thanks.
Hi, Committee Chair Davis. Knapp Fukuda, Assistant Director, Environmental Services Department. Yes, from what we know today of the Google project and what they're proposing of the scalping plant is what we're seeing today, where they divert some of the wastewater flows from that development and recycle that water. It would fall under currently what we know under our pretreatment program, where we permit that scalping facility because they would be discharging some material back to us, primarily the solids. They'll be taking the recycled water out. So yeah, that's been how we've been looking at it to date. Yeah.
Thank you. And did you want to address the question about Adobe? I mean, I know that these businesses have to basically pay to connect in to the regional wastewater facility and to send their wastewater. But do you want to talk about Adobe's? I don't know that they produce anything either. I think it's just an office building. Are they part of the pretreatment program as well?
I don't believe they have any processed wastewater to us. Do they, Casey? Adobe?
No industrial wastewater. They do pump groundwater. They have groundwater infiltration issues at some of their large towers next to the Guadalupe. So they do pump that water, and they've approached us for handling that waste stream. But no, it's not a true industrial process.
Okay, thank you. But you are in contact with them about that, and they're regulated for the normal system.
Right, and working alongside our Public Works Department, I know they handle a lot of the capacity issues and the fees around that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks, Nat.
Sure.
All right, I don't see any other hands from my colleagues, so I think we're ready for the vote.
Foley,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're moving on to item D4, the Stevens Creek Corridor quarterly update. John? You gonna start us off, or Ramses, maybe?
No. We're just here to take questions on the report. We don't have a presentation.
Okay. I see one member of the public with their hand raised. Blair?
Hi, thank you. Boy, I'm surprised there's not a report on this. I mean, there's issues of AV, traffic, future of AV, and I guess, you know, this is a lane where experimental AV issues can go, and I'm surprised there's not much mention. I suppose there's a few other issues to talk about the future of the Stevens Creek corridor, but to remind of AV questions, using the light rail as an AV source is interesting, but like what I've always tried to say, you know, we have already been developing, you know, a electric bus program for the future of the VTA, and its transit recharging stations. You know, that's been work that's really developing well, and it's like pretty much ready to go. And you know, I hope that doesn't get drowned out in what is, you know, truly experimental questions about the future of AV. And you know, I just hope we have a perspective in how to talk about AV. It seems okay to work on the issue, but only in a certain perspective, that it is definitely a second tier project. We can't, it needs the energy to be a first tier, but we have to really treat it like a second tier project, basically, and just, you know, let it do its practices and learn its lessons, but not make demands so much, is my feeling about it. And really concentrate on the electric buses issue, and how we get transit stations, transit charging stations going for it, and all those sorts of questions. That should be our top priority to consider our green future at this time, I feel. How that can apply to the Stevens Creek corridor. I suppose there's building questions that will also be taking place. Good luck with this issue. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker is Roland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, that really took me by surprise. So, in 2 minutes, the only really viable solution, if you think about it, is BART. It's all the way and moving this maintenance facility of the permanente quarry on the other side of Highway 85. And they say, how is that possible? BART is so expensive. Well, yes. And the reason it's so expensive is because the VTA is building it. But another thing that you're not taking into account when you're designing a BART system is that, yes, BART is expensive. However, the tunnels are not. What's expensive is the stations. And this is the reason why I invited Mayor Liccardo 4 years ago to stop by London instead of having his jolly little trip to Barcelona. It's a conversation I had with Nuria Fernandez, one-to-one actually, 6 years ago. There was somebody else in the room. That was John Risto. It was before the Valley Fair extension and all this massive parking lot. And what I told Nuria is that in London, we would be working with Valley Fair and asking them, would you be interested in building a BART station in your statement? And if and when you do, we will come to it. That's the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, another. We really got to start talking about people when they're going to be developing on the Stevens Creek corridor and asking them, you know, what are you going to build? Would you be interested in a BART station, yes or no? And then I can assure you this conversation is going to be entirely different. But at the end of the day, we cannot carry on with the VTA and what happened to phase one with Snapshot scandal. We've got to come up with a different way of delivering BART all the way to Highway 85 in Cupertino. Thank you.
Thank you. Turning back to my colleagues. Any questions or comments for Ramses? It looks like the top line of the update was San Jose's got its funding, but the other participating municipalities are still working on it. Is that fair, Ramses?
Yeah, I mean, that's really where we don't want to say anything until all the parties kind of come together in a clear direction. So that's why we're giving a high level report as we're asked to, but we don't feel like saying much more is worthwhile until we understand who all the really parties are to moving this forward.
Okay, thank you. Do you need us to accept this report? You need a motion on it? Looks like Lee's nodding his head. Yes. Can I have a motion?
Yeah,
I move to accept the report.
I'll second.
Thank you. We're ready for the vote.
Foley,
Aye.
Corrales,
Aye.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to open forum. Paul?
Paul Soto. Thank you for a productive meeting. In the future, I would at least hope to, if I ask a question with regard to definitions for clarifications purposes, to understand how those words are fitting in with the context of the conversation. I would appreciate it if the council would assist me in that regard, because it's important that those things get on the public record. It's vitally important that these definitions are not subjective, that they have objective terms by which we can both move and that we can keep the checks and balances in place. That's why it's so critically important, because I don't know what they mean by safety. I don't know what this panel means by equity. And and that's critically important, because the inequities that I have experienced in this city for 5 generations, 5, have still not been given a fair hearing within the context of city government, and to determine the responsibility, the moral, the ethical, and the legal responsibility that this city has to the profiteering that was done in two ways: the exploitation of Sasipuedes and its poverty, and the acceleration and increase of wealth in Willow Glen and Rose Garden. These were done at the same time. That's what we're looking at right now. We are looking at the generational consequences of those policies. And so what I'm looking for, and I'm going to continue looking for this, and I hope that I have the City of San Jose's council support in this, is that we start articulating clearly, specifically, and explicitly what really actually happened and what were the generational consequences thereof. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Blair.
Hi, thanks for the meeting today. I felt each item had a really interesting connection to other items, so thank you for that. I feel that, the items that were talked about today were items of sustainability that we've been trying to address for like years before COVID-19. And what makes things kind of interesting is that I think in working on these programs and working on like my open public policy ideas, before COVID-19, I mean, we were aware we're working on something really important and really helpful and just decent and can really just offer our good future. And I think when you work with that mentality and those practices, it makes this era of COVID-19 a little silly to how to address, our problems of the world when we're addressing things already pretty well, which is what these items have done today, and which what we were already doing before COVID-19. I hope people who plan these sort of social planning things in the future realize that, and that's a lesson we all have to learn at this time. We're developing really good things, and they shouldn't mess with that. Why mess with that when we're doing something so decent and important? To quickly add, I think AV projects, automatic vehicle projects in the airport area seems the best place to experiment, not along Stevens Creek, although, do what you want. And how all of this relates to, how much time do I have left here? 25 seconds. How all this relates to Vision Zero things and 4 and 5G that I tried to state at Smart Cities last week. 4 and 5G is the same thing. We're trying to develop the digital divide, help bridge that years ago. And we're at COVID now, we're trying to bring around what is our.
I think we got cut off there. Next speaker is the phone number ending in 5140.
Yeah, this city, I don't know, talking about all these projects they're doing, what they need to do is fix the toilets at the Rose Garden. I was just there right now, and Deb, if you're there and listening, that bathroom needs to be repaired. Broken windows, broken ceiling, broken toilets overflowing right now. And it's disgusting. And you need to do something about that. If you're going to try to be in charge of wastewater, start with the men's toilet at the Rose Garden. I had to come home and use the bathroom because I couldn't use it there because it was so disgusting. Now, if the park police that wants you to have a tablecloth on the table there, maybe they should get a plunger and make themselves useful and go there and unplug the toilet at the men's Rose Garden bathroom. It really, a restaurant couldn't do that. A business couldn't do that, but the city can? I think that's wrong. I'd like to hear a reply from Dev of what I've said. And, I sent your office a picture. So it's, it's for real. It just happened. And it's disgusting. And you should be ashamed of how you run these parks. It shouldn't be like that. People should be able to go and use a bathroom at a public park, especially during COVID. Where else can we go? What can we do? So the public library doesn't look like that, but the city hall doesn't look like that. But why do our public parks look like that? And don't give me the excuse that it's COVID. There's lack of funding. There's plenty of money in this. We're one of the richest cities and county in the entire nation, and it looks like that. It's just disgraceful.
Thank you. With that, the meeting is adjourned.